And we're live. Sunday Service, episode number 51, coming off hot from UFC 317. Ilia Topuria. I'm just going to say it. He's the greatest fighter of all time. He doesn't need any more fights. In my eyes, that is the greatest fighter of all time. The best fighter I've ever seen. Domination, knocking out some of the best fighters to ever do it in a very, very competitive weight class. Very competitive weight class. 145, tough weight class. 155, tough weight class. There's a reason Islam Makhachev decided to move up. And people called me crazy. People were commenting on all the posts that I made pre-fight a long time ago when Islam said he was going to move up to 170. Because everyone knows the toughest fight in the division, or the biggest fight, would be Islam versus Ilia Topuria. That is the biggest fight in the whole UFC, in my opinion. I think that's bigger than Tom Aspinall versus John Jones. Ilia versus Islam, way bigger than John Jones versus Tom Aspinall, because Ilia Topuria seems like probably the biggest star of the UFC right now. I don't think that's a stretch by any stretch of the imagination. That ain't a stretch at all. Okay, Ilia Topuria is probably the biggest star of the UFC right now. And then you got Islam Makhachev, obviously, with Habib in his corner. I think that's the biggest fight in the UFC right now. So I don't know why Islam wouldn't want to make that unless he didn't want to fight him. Yes, he wants to chase his double or a two-division champion status. Cool. And he has talked about it for a while. But all of a sudden, when Ilia Topuria wanted to move up to 155, that's when he decided to do it. Because I'm pretty sure Islam would have fought Justin Gaethje. I'm pretty sure he would have. But Ilia Topuria was the champion at 145, and he said he's going to move up to 155. And you're really going to make Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira as some random fight? A title elimination bout? No. You're going to make that for a title. Ilia Topuria knocked him out in less than 2.5 minutes. Less than 2.5 minutes. That's unbelievable. Charles Oliveira has shown some real toughness, some real grit in a lot of fights. Islam Makhachev went to the second round with him. And if you watch back that fight, go watch that fight. Islam Makhachev versus Charles Oliveira. Watch how Islam's striking looks against Charles Oliveira. Yes, I know he dropped him in round 2, but watch some of those combinations that Islam was throwing. Ilia Topuria would have this man in a casket by 2 rounds. I'm calling it right now. I don't think they're ever going to make it because Islam, we know what they like to do. They don't want to take that risk. They'll go up to 170, fight JDM. Still a tough fight. So Islam is in a real tough scenario. Does he go back down to 155? No, he's not going to do that. Why would he do that after Topuria just absolutely deaded Charles Oliveira? He ain't going to do that. So he's going to go up to 170. It's still a tough fight. JDM is still a very tough fight, but I think the tougher fight would be at 155. What up, Tad? Is that Todd? Again, my O's and my A's are going to be real tough because I'm trying to see my screen from a far ways away, and my O's and my A's, it's going to be tough for me to see, but I think that's Todd. Todd Furnish. What's going on, brother? We also had a lot of other fights, but obviously the biggest thing that happened last night was the main event with Topuria and Charles Oliveira. James, always in the chat. How we doing, brother? Jacob, how we doing? Vinny, what's going on, brother? Ilia Arturo. Dude, he's so nasty. Crazy to think, hindsight, that one could have made a cycle parlay off the last 3 fights. You are very true. Pantoja, we did have 3 subs last night, so kind of shocking that we got 3 subs and 3 KOs. Pretty balanced card. Pretty good card overall, though. I will say that. Main card, I don't think there was a boring fight at all. Main card was worth it. I think the best fight of the year, Joshua Van, Brandon Royval. Pantoja gets it done again. I'm really kicking myself because I believed in Kai Kara France. Terrible decision. Pantoja didn't look like he was on a decline at all. So I got to give my props to Pantoja. He actually looked like way better, like in way better shape than I had seen him. A little bit suspect, but either way, Pantoja gets it done. Easy stuff for Pantoja. Money man. The money man lands the straight right down the pipe and knocks down Beneil Dariush, but couldn't put him away. And then he just let it slip through his fingers. Benny Dariush just outworked him in round 2 and 3. He loses a decision. Very fair decision. Definitely lost the last 2 rounds. Peyton Talbot, it's Pride Month, baby. You can't back somebody that's fighting a question mark when it comes to their sexuality in Pride Month. Okay, Felipe Lima was, I guess, the shit for a lot of people this week. Not the case, man. Peyton Talbot's still that guy. Grappling improvements looked insane. Felipe Lima really didn't have any grappling success outside of the first round, where he had some control, but it really wasn't a ton. I thought it was a 30-27 for Talbot. I thought he did more damage, landed the more strikes. Even though Lima, when he did land on Peyton Talbot, he landed some flush shots. It's just that Peyton Talbot does not react to getting hit at all. The dude has a granite chin. He'll just shrug it off like it was nothing. Terrible stoppage from RoboCop and Jack Hermanson. Dude, I saw that left hook coming from a mile away, too. That was just Jack Hermanson. Every time he throws his jab, he's just ducking off to this way. It's like, dude, he could just slip it onto the inside, come around with the left hook, and it's fucking easy. And he put Jack Hermanson to sleep and followed up with a nasty shot. Don't know why he did that, but I'm assuming it's because he had a lot of adrenaline going, and maybe he was just like, saw red, because his face was bloodied up. So maybe he just saw red and decided to throw that extra punch. But you can't really blame him, because I think it was Herb Dean. Was it Herb Dean that was the guy that made the bad stoppage or wasn't able to get to him in time? And Herb Dean probably should have just launched himself at RoboCop, because he was just too slow. Just too slow. Hyder Emil, rest in peace, Hyder Emil. God damn. Knee up the middle, dead. Tracy Cortez, W, easy. Terrence McKinney, round 1, easy. Guillotined him. Borshev fought like hell to get out of it, but he was just not going to do that. Jacoby Smith, round 2, couldn't get Nico Price out of there in round 1, but Nico was pretty awkward, so I did think that was a possibility. And then Jonathan Denise, Alvin Hines. Didn't know Alvin Hines went to prison. Otherwise, I would not have thought that Denise would KO him in round 1, but I saw a stat. I promise I'm going to get to the chats real quickly right here. But I saw a stat yesterday that said every single heavyweight fight has gone to decision dating back to March, when Waldo Cortez Acosta and Ryan Spann fought. That's disgusting. We can't get finishes at heavyweight. It's disgusting. That weight class should be producing KOs left and right. All right. Hey, I think the one thing for Islam that is good is that Ilia ground game isn't better than Charles. Charles was able to reverse bottom position to leg lock. I mean, Ilia's ground game is really fucking good, dude. Did you not see it yesterday? Van and Raw Dog fight best. Yeah, dude, this is the best fight I've seen in a long time. Fight pro at Ilia over 1.5 GGs to my parlay. Yeah, that would be the sweatiest 7.5 minutes of your life. They ain't making Patty versus Topuria yet. Yeah, not yet. Not yet. I don't believe it. Now everyone sees why Islam is running away. Facts. Agree. Cash a 3-leg parlay. Van, Pantoja, Topuria. That's easy money, Jonathan. Topuria versus Armin. Patty versus Gaethje. That's the fights to make, I believe. That's the fights to make. If they give Gaethje a fucking title shot after the shit that he's been saying, if I don't get a title shot, I'm retiring. Get the fuck out of here, bro. You've already had 2 title shots, and you lost both of them, and you got finished in both of them. You lost to the guy that just got knocked out by the champion in less than 2.5 minutes. You ain't going to get a title shot. Give it to fucking Sarukian. Okay, Sarukian was supposed to fight Islam. That was supposed to be a tough fight for Islam. Just give it to him. Yes, he's a rich kid. Yes, he's a little bit of a prick. But he's definitely a tough fight for anybody in the division. Ilia Topuria still knocks him out in round 1. Ilia knocks out Armin in round 1. That's just how I see it. Could be round 2. But Gaethje's acting like a entitled little prick, dude. Like, I want a title shot or I'm retiring. Okay, dude. See ya. Goodbye. I agree. Islam is running like a coward. Facts. Did it just start? We started 10 minutes ago. Hey, Zeus, welcome in, brother. I hope Islam, the coward, loses to JDM and has to come back down. Imagine that, bro. Imagine that. I don't think he will, though. Even if he loses, I think he'll probably just stay up at 170. Bro, Makhachev said he was going to move up since Leon was the champion. He couldn't take the 300 fight and was wrapped into 2 more 155. You spelled wrapped wrong. Roped. That makes more sense. 155 defenses, but made it fully clear he would go up as soon as Bilal lost. Okay. Sup, brother? Are you standing or sitting? I am sitting. I got some stools, bro. I'm sitting. Thankfully. Thank you for checking in, Sikter Ali. What's going on, Ryan? How we doing, brother? Miss you. A while back on a Sunday service, I said hot take prediction. Romanov might win the PFL heavyweight season. It might happen versus Popov. I think Popov probably wins, but Romanov is going to be live for the first round, maybe round and a half. How we doing, Wendy's fan? Josh Van and Raw Dog was insanity. It was nuts. It was nuts. 200 significant strikes or more by both guys. 419 significant strikes landed from both guys combined in 15 minutes. Love it. You love to see it. I mean, what other guys are fighting like that in a title elimination bout? Tell me, what other title elimination bout have we seen where both guys come and fight and just fucking throw down? We're not seeing that nowadays. Joshua Van, 23 years of age, is going to make MMA great again. You come in, we're fucking throwing down. I love that dude, Joshua Van. Absolutely love him. Josh Van versus Pantoja. Gonna be a tough fight for Josh Van. I was just saying that. Gonna be a real tough fight for Josh Van. Because Pantoja has probably quadrupled the amount of experience when it comes to not only MMA, but also grappling. So that's going to be a tough fight for Josh Van. Had Ilia over half a round. Oh my God. As last leg in 4 parlays, still sick to my stomach and lost it by 3 seconds. Oh my God. That is disgusting, dude. That is so gross. Dude, Charles looked out of place. Like he did it. Like it was like he had never taken a striking class before when he was trying to do stuff to Ilia on the feet. He didn't know what the fuck was going on. He didn't know what was hitting him. Ilia was just hitting him with simple jabs and simple 2-3s. And Charles didn't know what the fuck was going on. And he looked so lost, so slow. Everything that hit him was like he had never blocked a punch in his life either. All he's doing is high guarded. Ilya's just sticking a jab right down to his face or to his body. And then he would go to throw. His hands would come down. He'd be like this. All right, I'm going to throw. And Topuria would just intercept him with fucking right hands and left hooks. It was crazy to watch. Topuria looked fucking on another. It was like Charles was fighting in slow motion. And Topuria was just picking whatever the fucking shot that he wanted to throw would just land with absolute force. And Charles would come crashing in. Topuria would still be able to land combinations when Charles is literally holding him with his head. Unbelievable stuff, dude. I don't know if Charles looked bad, but Topuria looked fucking amazing. Do you feel like had Royval used the grappling, you would have pulled off the win? I don't think so, dude. I really don't. Maybe for the fact that like if he got a takedown, it could swing around just because it would defer from what was going on in the feet. But Royval's just not an offensive grappler, bro. He doesn't really do that offensively, so it'd be different from what he normally does. What's happening? Nobody in the Twitter chat. I'm not surprising, bro. Not surprising. Royval could have won if he didn't get dropped. I don't know, dude. I mean, I have to look at the scorecards. Let me look at scorecards. Could he have won? Personally, I thought Joshua Van won round 2 or won round 1. I thought Royval probably won round 2 because he still landed some pretty significant shots, but Royval was the guy that was wearing the damage a lot worse. And Joshua Van wasn't like far behind in the significant strike count, still landed some big shots too. I think that's a really close round, could go either way. And then round 3 was clearly Van. I think it still would have been Van had he not dropped him. Awesome night. Islam said if Bilal won, he'd stay. And if JDM won, he'd move up. Y'all should be mad at JDM. Okay. How you think Van versus Pantoja goes? Joshua Van's got to have the craziest. I don't know what the fuck he's got to do. Obviously, he's got to keep the fight on the feet. But how is he going to do that? I have no idea. I have no idea. Because he has good takedown defense, but good takedown defense is different against Pantoja. It's just not as easy, you know? And when you get taken down, you get your back taken. So it's going to be really tough. Thought that was going to be sub because he gives his back so easily to Frank Ocean. Yeah, I thought there was a good possibility he could get subbed, but he looked amazing, dude. 30-27 for me. Agreed. Poor Herman, dude. Poor Manson, dude. I think he's good. I think he's good. Shadow Realm worthy. Yeah. Disgusting. Herb Yamasaki in the gut. Herb Dean was at the other side of the cage. Dude, that was brutal. That was brutal. Super nice guy, but at the end of the day, he's a killer. Herb Dean is either too damn close or too damn far away. True. Herb loves himself. Dude, Herb is probably going to be like up at night. Like, fuck, dude. Like, I really fucked up there. I was there in person. Oh my God, the car was so flipping good. It was a sick card. It was really good. Hyder fucked my bed. I can tell you that. He was way out of frame. Yeah. Borshev should have shaved. His beard, yeah. That probably did cost him. I'm not going to lie. If Jan didn't get the knockdown, or Van, not Jan. Kind of fights like Jan, though. If Van didn't get a knockdown, he looked 50-50 for both. I don't think so, dude. I don't think so. Bilal won at 304, and Islam said he ruined his plans. But we'll move up after Bilal lost. That was set in stone. I mean, who gives a fuck, dude? They're not even like, they've trained for like one camp together. If he wanted to move up to 170, he would have just moved up to 170 and fought Bilal. You got Pantoja versus Van and Ilia versus Patty. Pantoja Van, I would take Pantoja unless you're giving me just insane odds on Joshua Van. And Ilia versus Patty, Ilia round 1. Easy. Would you rather Ilia versus Patty or Ilia versus Islam? Ilia versus Islam, bro. Get the fuck out of here. Ilia versus Patty is not even competitive. When Charles dropped it, it looked so fake. It looked like Kamaru Usman, bro. That's what it reminded me of right away. When Charles Oliveira dropped on his back and his arms flung up like this, it reminded me of Kamaru Usman getting head kicked by Leon Edwards. But the crazy part about it is Charles Oliveira didn't get hit with a head kick. He got hit with a punch. Ilia Topuria knocked out Charles Oliveira so bad, he did the Kamaru Usman flop after he got head kicked by Leon Edwards with a right hand. Unbelievable shit, dude. The power from Ilia Topuria, good Lord. Good Lord. People are tripping over Royval Van round 2. They all need to rewatch it. Van won the minutes and the moments. I wouldn't argue that at all. I wouldn't argue against it. Even Dana said it's wacky of him to say that. Yeah, it's crazy. Yes, CT. Thoughts on UFC Nashville? I haven't really looked at it too much. We don't have a card this Saturday, so I haven't really done much today. I went to the fucking parade here in Wisconsin. Showed some love to Ben Askren. You know, shout out that Ben Askren. Say some prayers for old Ben and his family tonight. Too many wars for Gaethje. Agreed. Holloway's going to win. His chin is still good. He ate Ilia shots for 3 rounds. Yeah. I mean, wait. We got to look at something here. All right. Okay. We might be onto something here, boys. Everybody that has lost to Ilia Topuria. Okay, we're almost there. I'm just making sure. Ryan Hall hasn't fought since. Oh, he did. He beat Derek Benner. Okay, fucking Yusuf Salal's the only one that hasn't. But 1, 2, Jai Herbert won. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All 6 of Ilia Topuria's last opponents that he. So Ilia Topuria beat Damon Jackson, Ryan Hall, Jai Herbert, Bryce Mitchell, Josh Emmett, Alexander Volkanovski. He knocked out every single one except Josh Emmett, but he beat them all. All 6 of those fighters went on to win their next fight. Max Holloway, last fight was against Ilia Topuria. Lost to him, knocked out in round 3. His next fight is the next pay-per-view against Dustin Poirier. If the trend continues, it looks like he's beaten Dustin Poirier. Unfortunate, but fortunate for a lot of other people. You see what Izzy said to Aspinall? I did not. I'm going to have to explain. Now, if Bryce Mitchell can take down Ilia, then Arman 100% can. I mean, I don't think that really means anything, bro. Bryce Mitchell took him down. Okay, what did he do with it? Nothing. I feel like they would give it to Justin. To be honest, I know very stupid, but they don't want to give it to Arman, and Justin's always been a weird guy, complains for everything, and I don't mind watching the fight. Dude, if they put Justin Gaethje in the cage with Ilia Topuria, Gaethje's going to get knocked out worse than he did to Max Holloway. Like, it's going to be really bad. It's going to be really bad. I mean, the way that Max Holloway knocked out Justin Gaethje was brutal. It's hard to watch. Face plant on the canvas. If they put Gaethje in the cage with Ilia Topuria, that's asking for trouble. Asking for big trouble, man. Another Justin highlight. Jesus is in agreement with me. Steve Garcia by decision. I didn't look at the next card, bro, yet. I decided last night I'm a forever hater of Topuria for doing that to our trials. Don't be a hater, bro. Just see the greatness in it. Izzy told Aspinall make it a priority to make next fight title defense. As far as how they look at it, I guess. I don't know. So you're saying if Michael Chandler beat Patty, we would be having Patty versus Topuria. I don't know what you mean, dude. Maybe they do Justin versus Patty. All depends how hard Justin protests. Yeah, we'll see. Topuria is basically Thanos right now. Dude. Anything he touches goes to fucking sleep. You agree that Pantoja is the most underrated champion? 100%. 100%. He should be top 5 pound for pound. Or at least top 6. They had him at like number 10. Like, that's disgusting, dude. He should be at least top 6 pound for pound fighter in the world. Is that the James Krause? James Krause does tend to pop in here. I don't know if it's the real one, though. How do you see Kai versus Kopp going? I think Kopp fucking knocks him out, bro. Is Vance's takedown defense good enough? Probably not. Probably not. I'm a Charles fan, and Ilia made him look like Ryan Hall, unfortunately. Yeah. He looked fucking awful. Remember when you and Maddie put me on Van on the Inc. versus Walker 2 card? Asian Max Holloway was the name y'all gave him at the time. Oh, yeah, when we put you on Van. Yeah, Van's fucking... I mean, Van's only been in the UFC for, what, 2 years? Yeah, 2 years, dude. I remember when he made his UFC debut. It was on an Ilia Topuria card, too. It was Josh Emmett versus Ilia Topuria. 2 years ago. UFC debut. Took it on short notice against Zhalgas Zhumagulov. He was like a plus 200 underdog. He goes in there, wins the fight. Looked amazing. Looked fucking legit. And he's gotten a lot better since that fight, too. Been following you for a while, agree, and majority of your picks, but I really didn't see Kai winning. Was looking back at his resume. I didn't really think he hold up great. If you think about it, yeah, I mean, I wasn't like super confident in him winning. And of course, I regret the bet, but I thought the odds would give me a good chance to where he could stuff the takedowns. And he did stuff the takedowns pretty well. It's just Pantoja would get to his back and then literally just wrap his legs around his waist and drop his body to the ground, and Kai Kara-France would just allow it to happen. So, yeah, that didn't really work out well. What's next for Royval? Give him fucking Steve Erceg or some shit. I don't know. Just felt like Royval played into Van's game. I thought he should have thrown more knees up the middle. I thought those would be very deterrent to Joshua Van throwing his combinations if he threw more knees up the middle. Because Raw Dog's got some pointy ass knees, long legs, and he could just throw those shits up the middle, and Joshua Van's chin would be right there. Favorite Cali sportsbook need help finding the perfect one. You got to have multiple, bro. Wager Attack, Bet Online, Legends, all the good stuff. You got to have multiple options. What happened to Wakano? Didn't expect him to lose like that. I thought if he was going to lose, he was going to lose like that. I'm not going to lie. So I kind of did see how that could play out that way. I'd say Ilia gets 3 more fights and retires at 20-0. I don't know, man. I mean, let's just say Ilia Topuria gets the fight with Islam, beats him. Or let's just say this. Let's say Ilia Topuria gets the fight with Arman Tsarukyan, knocks him out. He goes up to 170, knocks out Islam Makhachev. What else is there to do? What else is there to do? Who else could he beat? I guess maybe you could fight Paddy Pimblett at 155, knock him out. But, like, he's the greatest fighter of all time, dude. There's no debating it. There's no debating it. He's the greatest fighter of all time. Khabib Nurmagomedov's not doing that to anybody. John Jones did it for a long time. But did he beat the guys that Ilia Topuria beat? And did he beat them as dominantly as Ilia Topuria did, finishing them within 3 rounds or within 3 minutes in the case of Charles Oliveira? He's the greatest fighter of all time. I've never seen a fighter that is that dominant, that looks that in control of everything happening inside the octagon and makes his opponent look either scared shitless or like they've never fought before, and they're either some of the greatest fighters of all time or ex-champions. Never seen anything like it. Is it real that Eddie Gary wants to fight Bilal? I think it is. Borshev coming out with a Santa hat after getting choked was horrendous work. Yeah, it was disgusting, dude. Can't believe Slava did it like that, dude. That's crazy. What's going on, Andrew? How we doing? Fan's good, but I'm never picking against Pantoja. He subs Van in round 2 with 3. I could definitely see that, yeah. Not a fan of Kai Kara-France, but Van versus Kai Kara-France would have been a fire matchup. I also personally don't think Royval stock didn't drop at all. I put him right back in the number 1 contender fight. Yeah, I agree. Setting in front of Hermanson. Oh, God, dude. I bet they were fucking worried. Dr. Peener. Nice. How we doing, bro? Can't wait to see Van versus Moreno. You know that fight is coming down the pipe in the near future. They better not make Van versus Moreno. You better make fucking Van versus Pantoja. How Peyton improved last night was how we were hoping Sean would do against. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. That's just not the case. Oliveira did his Johnny Walker impression. Nobody. No, dude. No. Charlie Olives did his Johnny Walker impression. That's crazy. Ilia called out Armin, not Patty. When he called him out, he referenced back issues, which is Armin, not Patty. Yeah. I mean, I think they should probably make Armin versus Ilia. Pause, bro. We only got one more day in Pride Month. Chill out. And people that the nerve to say Topuria ran from Diego Lopez. You know, what we saw last night against Charles Oliveira is probably how it goes if Topuria fought Diego Lopez. Okay? That's probably how it goes. So, yeah. Good thing Diego did not fight him. Was it me or was there a lot of cringe on last night's card? Some of the commentary was cringe. Van's mic skills after the fight, the Ilia Patty promo, Ilia stealing McGregor lines for it. Sure, bro. I would say, yeah, you could definitely say that. Commentary is always cringe. Always. Especially when Rogan talks. Did you and Maddie have a falling out and that's why you left Florida? No, not the case at all. Not the case at all, dude. My family is from Florida. My family is from Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin. So when you have kids, you'll probably want to be near your family, you know? Kai Car-Fran's disappointed and is a pretty cringe, but one thing I'll give him is he fought that RNC. Yeah, he did. He did his best. Scoutsters can get knocked out if they get hit by Ilia Topuria, 100%. You think Ilia would be top 5 in middleweight? Welterweight, I think he would be insanely competitive with JDM or Islam. I think he could, honestly. I think he could be really competitive with the top 5 of welterweights. I don't think that's crazy to say. Is Walter Walker going to ragdoll Kennedy next Saturday? Well, there's no fights next Saturday, so don't know what you're talking about, but probably does ragdoll. We'll see. We're not beefing, dude. I don't want you, what is this beef thing? Who do you think wins, by the way, Islam or Jack? I think Jack has a good shot. 42.50 gets MMA, may as well be a knockout. That is true. Yeah. Max Moneyline. You just gave a great day. Yeah. I'm really far back on the chats, boys. I apologize. This is when I was talking about everyone wins the next fight after they lose to Ilia. Javier Mendez said Gaethje would be a tough test for Ilia. Ali has these guys media trained. Javier Mendez says Gaethje will be a tough test for Ilia. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Gaethje would be in a casket. Take that hat off. No, I'm okay, bro. Can't wait to get to July, dude. Do you think Poirier retires? Yeah, he said he's going to retire, bro. I think saying Ilia's a GOAT is a stretch. His wins over Max and Holloway are way better than Charles. Everyone drops Charles round 1. Well, he didn't drop him, Bill. He fucking slept him. I see a lot of people that are biased say Patty wins that fight deep down. They don't believe it. What world does Patty even win? That dude almost got knocked out by a scrub with the apex. Yeah, I remember that punch because I think it was the loudest punch I've ever heard that didn't get like a reaction from somebody. Patty ate it clean. If that's Topuria, he's fucking dead, dude. He's fucking dead. Did you see what happened with Strickland rushing into the cage and sucker punching an hammer fight? Yeah. I don't know what the fuck Strickland's doing in the corner, going in there, trying to fight this dude that just submitted his training partner. but it was not a smart move. And he's probably going to get a suspension. Like, I could see Strickland getting suspended for 6 to 12 months, somewhere in that range. So he might be out for like a year because he wanted to. This dude pissed him off and he ran into the cage and punched him. Not the smartest move from Sean Strickland, but we're pretty used to that by now. If you're in the IG Live, I'm going to cut you off right now. Come on over to the YouTube chat. There's a link in my bio. And hop in the YouTube chat. You'll get your comments read on the screen. Peace. Goodbye, Instagram. Dana said he was pissed that Rogan let Patty in. Yeah. Rogan let him in. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that they would want Ilia versus Patty next. I don't think so. I think they're probably hoping that Ilia either goes up to 170 or something like that, because they definitely want to have Patty in a title picture. But I think they know if they put Patty in there with Topuria, Patty's getting knocked the fuck out. So I feel like the only way to beat Ilia is a Marab style all pace. It's true. Hey, Joe, do you think Rainer DeRitter subs Robert Whitaker as a plus 138 dog and Whitaker will grow as a favorite? I think DeRitter wins, yeah. It is 5 rounds, though. That's a little bit tough. But I do think he could sub. Do think so. I think Patty will open at about plus 300. I like that bet. I'm pretty sure Topuria Patty line's already open and Topuria is minus 600. I could see him being a lot higher. Let me just check. Because I'm pretty sure I saw a tweet for it, and Topuria was like minus 600, which makes sense to me. And honestly, I think it should be wider. UFC future events. Topuria's minus 500, bro. He should be fucking minus 10,000. Topuria's minus 300 to Sarukian. Oh my God, Pantoja's minus 215 to Joshua Van. Topuria's minus 400 against Gaethje. I would drop a fucking nuke on that shit, dude. Evloy is an underdog to Volk. Jeez. JDM's plus 225. Yeah, boy, we might have some money-making opportunities in the future, boys. I don't see Bax winning Dustin at all. Nothing's changed. Kind of. Yeah, that's a brutal card. I'm not going to lie. Dana was pissed that they let Patty in. Yeah. Did you see? Yeah, I saw that. Cop will fight Moreno. I think it's a good fight. That'd be solid. Cop versus Van. Nah, Van is fighting for the title, bro. Dana White promised him. Charles to 170. Could see it. Can we give a shout out to J.A. for getting the call on Canelo Crawford UFC broadcast? It's going to be shit that week, but good for J.A. Yeah. Shout out to John Anik getting the call for the Canelo Crawford fight. Big stuff, big moves. We need Pantoja versus Moreno 4. Please no. Kai Kura versus Kaya Sakura. Yeah, that'd be a good one too. I like that. Pantoja looked like bantamweight. He looked fucking filled out, dude. He looked massive. I had Kai plus 5. Oh, God. Yeah, it was a trap. Big trap. Dana said they put Van in the cage because they promoted Royval as the contender fight. I get why Dana is annoyed. Rogan called Patty. Yeah, Rogan. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. Wakano did have a path. Would like to see Ilia cross over to boxing with Uncle Dana now, promoting boxing with the ring. Why don't they just make Ilia Topuria Conor McGregor in boxing? Because then that'll at least give Conor a little bit more of a chance. If they did in MMA, Ilia Topuria is knocking that dude flat the fuck out. In boxing, they're bigger gloves, so it would probably last a little bit longer, but I think Topuria would still beat him in boxing. But come on. Ilia Topuria, Conor McGregor in boxing? Does that not be crazy? And I don't think that's crazy. Roybal would step in and jab. Then when he pulled his hand back, Van would blitz him. Every time that Van would land like big shots, Royval would throw back with like 2 or 3. They were pretty much just trading shots. Van was a little bit more calculated. Royval just looked like he was just going to try to outwork him. It's just not going to happen, bro. Because now it either focused him to book Patty. Could compare Ilia's run to Connor's prime run. They're about the same. Nah. I remember you saying you played D3 ball in college. What position were you? I'm a fellow D3 bandit, play basketball for Cal Lutheran down in SoCal. I played receiver, wide receiver in football. A GOAT needs more names on his resume than to date, homie. Yeah, nah. What's next for Moreno? When Sean Strickland fighting next? Probably not for a year, bro. He's probably going to get suspended. You see, Rufy called out Ilia. I want to see it, but Rufy needs at least 3 more fights. Dude, he needs like 5 more fights. Rufy. Yeah, get the fuck out of here, bro. Topuria resume. Pantoja should be top 4 pound for pound. I don't think anyone can beat him at flyweight. You're probably right, bro. Probably right. Hear me out. If Gaethje doesn't get next / retires, Patty fights Armin for number 1. If Dustin has a vintage showing against Max, dude, no, we can't have Dustin facing Ilia Topuria, bro. We can't have this. We literally just had Volk, Max, and Charles Oliveira. If you throw Dustin Poirier in there, we're going to have to watch Ilia knock out Dustin Poirier. Like flat cold. That's not good, dude. We can't keep doing that. I don't think Ilia would even want to fight Dustin. He doesn't want to do that to Dustin. And I love Dustin. But Dustin ain't beating Ilia Topuria, bro. It's just not happening. They should just do Royval, Kai Kara-France 2, both lost to the same card. True. I think you do Van versus Pantoja for the title. We got a lot of love for the flyweight division here, boys. All right, I'm going to kind of skip through these chats. I'm sorry, I'm going to skip through these chats, but I'm going to get to the most recent because we're kind of way far back. I don't really want to get through all of them, and we're going to wrap this up real soon. But Cody Barnes, no true MMA / UFC fan wants to see Dustin versus Ilia. Dude, please no. Please no. Chandler versus Topuria brawl, first 2 minutes. I think Chandler wins. Is this a real chat, bro? Chandler versus Topuria brawl, first 2 minutes. I think Chandler wins. Are we serious, bro? What the fuck do you think Charles Oliveira was trying to do? And look what happened. Michael Chandler would get put in a casket, bro. Put in a casket. I would not watch Ilia versus Dustin because I wouldn't be able to stomach the KO. Yeah. Yeah, that's brutal. I low-key think Gaethje versus Ilia would be a fire matchup, but I'd probably stand alone on that island. I mean, sure, it'd be a good matchup. I mean, the problem is, like, I just don't think you could give Ilia anybody outside of Islam and maybe Armin that really give him much of a fight. That's the tough thing. But either way, I mean, you could throw Gaethje in there and watch him get knocked out. That's cool. Scam likely versus Ajive? I don't know what that means. Cameron Jackson. What are John Silva's chances against Ilia? I think he would get out wrestled. But he does have a really good style, I think, to deal with Ilia. The problem is, I think he would still get countered because John Silva is like more of a counter striker, really fast, really powerful. But I don't think his grappling could hold up, and I don't think he would be immune to getting countered by Ilia either. So, yeah. And he kind of relies on a lot of head movement, I think Topuria would, be throwing a lot of combinations and still be able to hit him. But what are his chances? I'd probably say he's got like a 20% chance, something like that. We got a link for the podcast, bro. Only do NFL though. Here in Miami, I'm not in Miami, or I'm not in Florida anymore, but I don't really do any NFL. But let me know, bro. Need my boy Arnold Allen back in there. Personally, I think Allen beats Diego Lopez. I could see it. I could definitely see it. Whoever said Chandler wins needs to be banned. Let them swing in the middle. I'm gonna take Chandler. I'm gonna take Michael Chandler in a brawl. I'm gonna give me Michael Chandler, bro. What kind of fucking take is that? Make Ilia versus Michael Chandler. Make them brawl for 2 minutes. Give me Michael Chandler, bro. Are you fucking serious? Do you not know how like striking works? Chandler would be like this. Topuria would be bink. Good night. Come on. That's ridiculous. Chris Curtis got in the cage too, but he didn't throw a punch like Strickland. If they're both getting suspensions, Curtis is supposed to be on the next card. Yeah, that is true. Forgot about that. Chris Curtis is on UFC Nashville, which is in 2 weeks. He's probably going to get suspended. Probably. But I don't know if that means he's suspended in Tennessee because it's Nevada State Athletic Commission that would make the suspension. So maybe he'd be able to fight somewhere else. Chandler over Topuria. Jason Lying or Jason Lying. Facts. Content on this page is content is on page I'm commentating from now on. All right. I'm not really sure what's happening with you, bro, but I wonder if Islam is considering retiring now. I could see it. I could definitely see it. Topuria would get choked out by Sam Patterson at welterweight, but I think he might be able to knock out Danny Farlow. You motherfucker. How do you think DDP Chimaev plays out? Question I've answered many times on this channel, but I appreciate you for asking. DDP decision. We got to believe, boys. We got to believe. DDP decision. Pound for pound, can Ilia beat Pantoja? Yeah. I think Chandler would beat Ilia in a competition of who has more losses. That was fucking the craziest chat I think I've received out here, bro. Chandler versus Topuria brawl. First 2 minutes. I think Chandler wins. Make him brawl for the first 2 minutes. Give me Chandler. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, man. There's people that walk the earth that really believe that. That's crazy. Canelo versus Ilia boxing. Fight would be wild. Ilia would fucking knock him out, bro. Moreno versus Scott for UFC Noche to be a co-main for John Silva versus Lopez. I think Lopez has a chance, bro. Don't lie. I think man. I don't know, man. I think Lopez has got a grapple, but he doesn't really got great wrestling. Don't have great offensive wrestling. Sorry to say, but Ilia might sleep DDP if they were to have a matchup. You think there would be any chance? Imagine in 2 years, Ilia Topuria is fighting DDP in the middleweight division. And DDP's running at him with a retard blitz. And Ilia Topuria just starches him. Oh my God, dude. Ilia just keeps knocking out the best fighter in every division. He just keeps moving up and up and up. It'd be funny as fuck. 5'6", Ilia Topuria. Pound for pound, he would beat fucking Pantoja. I seen they dropped Dustin versus Max card last night. I would have sworn D-Rod versus Holland was signed for that card. Yeah, I thought that was on that too. Was it not on that? I guess not. Whoa. Oh, I know. That's just not the right order. Okay. I'm really sad to hear you and Maddie. We didn't have a falling out, bro. What the fuck? Scam likely is a social media influencer like yourself who boxes on Aiden Ross's streams. Y'all both looking for opponent. Make it happen. I've never heard of this guy. Scam likely versus Hey Jeff. Okay. All right. Never heard of him, never seen him, but I'll box on Aiden Ross's stream, sure. When is the last time Maddie had a winning week and now you leave him? He's going through. I didn't leave him, bro. We literally did a fucking live stream on Friday. We're scouts, we don't get knocked out. Get the fuck out of here, bro. You getting knocked out. 2/3 on the long shots cycle on the show. Had Benil decision, Pantoja sub, and Charles got full of his Mikey knows, aka Maddie's cousin. Dude, that shout out to Mikey knows, but that's a tough way to lose the cycle. You go 2 for 2. You get to the main event. You're like, all right, this cycle can smack. It gets smack. It's a long shot, but it gets smack. And then Charles just gets folded. That's brutal. Brutal. Those knee kicks from Van in the third. Yeah, those were nice. He picked up on those and just kept firing them. I liked it. Patty pisses me off so much. He could not beat Jared Gordon and was gifted his ranking from old no fight IQ Chandler and Bobby Green. Don't forget about that one. For a brief second, did you think Nico Price was going to veteran his way to a dub? I literally did. Dude, as soon as Nico Price got up, towards the end of round 1, Nico Price got up from kind of getting battered on the ground. Jacoby Smith, I thought he was death gassed. I thought he was just done. And he kind of was. He was tired, but he battled through it. That would have been insane, bro. Scam likely versus Hey Jive. Book it. I got to look up this scam likely guy. What do I look up? Scam likely influencer? Scam likely smacked a YN outside the ring. He looks sharp. He looks pretty solid. I don't know what he weighs, though. That's probably the problem. I might be a little bit bigger. We'll see. Bro got Michael Chandler in the chat under a fake name. Michael Chandler. You just had to pop that in there. If Chandler pointed to the center, Ilia would run away. That's a hardcore take. Oh god, that made my night. That was great. That was fucking amazing. You want to see me KO somebody? I would love to, but there's not many people in my weight class. I gotta cut some weight. Imavov or Kyle. Probably go Kyle. But it's in Paris, though. That's probably the problem. Yeah, it's in Paris. It's in Paris. Might have to go Imavov. I don't like Izzy or Patty. Izzy feels like he's too cocky. Izzy is very cocky. How much do you think the line moving in Van versus Royval, Emil versus Delgado was market liquidity versus the bookies adjusting the odds to suck out value? I think it was probably market liquidity. Yeah. Abu Dhabi card, so much better than Dustin's card. So much better. Isn't it funny? Sean always has some bad energy towards dudes that are smaller than him, but ends up jobbing during his fights and stepping back. It's true. I had the under on fight time on Jacoby Smith, and I know he could have finished Nico in the first exchange. Dude, I literally thought he knocked him out on like the first, couple punches that he landed. I thought he knocked him out. I was like, dude, just let him up. You could literally KO him easily. That love you. I've seen like 3 of them in the chat. Shout out to him. Shout out. Who you got in DDP versus Hamzat? My boy DDP, brother. If Chandler fought Ilia, we'd see him at the top because he beat that. No. See him at the top. You still DDP? I mean, I don't want to see my boy DDP fucking lose, bro. I don't want to see it. I really don't. You do not stand alone on island. With Gaethje versus Topuria, that fight is a fucking banger. How the fuck is it not? Regardless if Gaethje loses, that fight is fire. It's a fun fight, but we're going to see another murder. Aaron the Plumber versus Topuria in a real way. Not sure what that means. All right, boys. I'm going to hop out of here. Appreciate y'all for joining the stream. We got no UFC card this Saturday. But we do have 4th of July. So go celebrate America. I'm going to make a wager on the hot dog eating contest. If you have been a supporter and a follower for a while, you always want to tell the hot dog eating contest play. Okay, so stay tuned for that. I got to do some research. But no UFC card this Saturday. UFC 317, insane card. Ilia Topuria is the greatest fighter of all time. 100%. The greatest fighter of all time. If you let him and Michael Chandler brawl for 2 minutes, Michael Chandler's not beating him, okay? It's just not going to happen. Ilia Topuria, greatest fighter of all time. Like the stream for me. Subscribe to the channel. We'll be back here with some content real soon. Have a good week off.